And then finally, we also offer our rent guarantee program because despite your best efforts, things unfortunately do arise with tenants where there could be a job loss or a breakup or roommate issues where tenants stop paying the rent and continue living at your property. And with the rent guarantee, we'll make sure that you're covered for the full rent amount for the time it takes to evict them, so you can still cover your costs and your expenses. So I'm going to go a bit further into that and everything that's covered with the rent guarantee. With the rent guarantee, the most important part is that it's going to cover your rent for up to 12 months for the time it takes to evict the tenant. So I know we have landlords here today from across the country in different provinces, and the wait times for an eviction can vary depending on the province you're in. So we'll cover you for up to 12 months to make sure that you're covered for the full time to evict the tenant in your specific province. We'll also cover you for up to 30 days of rent if the tenant breaks lease without giving you proper notice, so you have time to place a new tenant at your property. A lot of landlords are concerned about vandalism or property damage. If the tenant's upset you're evicting them and they cause malicious damage to your property, we'll make sure that you're covered for $10,000 there. In addition to the rent coverage, we'll also help you with evicting the tenant. So we'll cover you for $1,500 in paralegal and eviction fees, so you have the resources and the support to properly complete the eviction. And then with the rent guarantee, we'll also include the rent collection that we offer, and we'll reimburse you for the cost of 2 tenant reports that you would have paid for when screening the potential renters. So I'm also going to go through a bit of the process of what happens if you're on the rent guarantee and your tenant stops paying. So generally, we guide the landlord through this process. I know it can be a bit of a daunting task, especially if this is the first time you've gone through an eviction. So if you have a tenant that's at your property, you don't get the rent at the beginning of the month, you don't hear from them, you can let our team know and we'll help send the notice of non-rent payment to the tenant. You can submit that request directly through your SingleKey account, and then one of our team members will reach out to you. So we'll mail out the notice of non-rent payment. I know in Ontario here that's the N4, but we'll mail it out directly to the tenant, so we have confirmation that that's been delivered to them. And then if they don't pay within the notice period, we'll make sure to connect you with a local paralegal partner to help you with next steps to start that eviction process. Generally, for the first payment, it takes about 30 days to get you the first rent payment, but then for each month after that, you'll get the rent at the beginning of the month for the time it takes to evict the tenant. Awesome. I'm going to go over a few FAQs of questions that we on the Rent Guarantee team get asked quite often, and then we'll be happy to answer any of the questions you guys have been putting in the chat here as well. So one of the most common questions we get are, what documents do we need to start the rent guarantee? The great thing is we just need the tenant report, which you can run directly through your SingleKey account. We would also need proof of income from the tenant. So that could be recent pay stubs, letter of employment. If the tenant is self-employed, they could provide recent bank statements and a notice of assessment showing what they pay themselves throughout the year. And then once we have that information, we've confirmed with you that the tenant's approved for the rent guarantee, we would just ask for a copy of the lease agreement once you have it signed with the tenant. And on that note, for the lease agreement, we would just ask that you use the applicable standard lease for the province you're in. So I know it varies in BC, they have their own lease, and in Ontario here, we have the Ontario standard lease you need to use. So we would just ask that you sign the proper lease agreement with your tenant, but you're welcome to add additional addendums to that as well. So question 2, how do I apply for the rent guarantee? This is another common question that we get. It's pretty simple. You can do it directly through your SingleKey account. And as soon as you apply, our team is going to get notified so we can review all of the documents for you. You can see here at the top, this is a sample of what it would look like in your account here. It's basically just going to ask you for the property info, so the address and the rent amount. It'll let you upload all of the supporting document, so those tenant reports, proof of income from the tenant, and any other relevant documentation you've received. And then you can choose the payment option. So with the rent guarantee, you can pay either monthly at 5.5% of the rent, or you can pay annually upfront at 5% of the rent. We won't charge you until the rent guarantee's actually been approved, though. So it will ask you what payment option you prefer when you apply, but we wouldn't charge your card until we've actually approved the rent guarantee for you. And finally, what are the tenant eligibility requirements? So this also goes hand in hand with reviewing the report, and that's why we always offer to book a call with you to go through the report to help confirm that the tenant would qualify for the rent guarantee, or if you have any other questions about the information there. We're generally looking at a few things. We want to make sure that there's no bankruptcies within the past 3 years. And then we'll also look at the proof of income documents. We just want to make sure that the rent to income ratio is below 45% based on the gross household income. So with the proof of income documents the tenant provides, we'll generally take a look at them. We want to make sure they're recent. So if your tenant provides you a pay stub from like 3 months ago, it's a good idea to follow up to get something more recent before applying for the rent guarantee. And we also want to make sure that that documentation has the tenant's name on it. So one thing we see quite often is people will send screenshots from their banking app or maybe from their HR portal from their phone, but it doesn't show the tenant's name anywhere on that screenshot. So it's always a good idea to follow up and get PDFs of their actual pay stubs or a PDF bank statement if possible.